Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I have to apologize. In the background, you may hear a chicken. It's such a nice day out. I don't have my air conditioning on and got my windows open, and I've got a chicken who is being very noisy outside. So that's farm life for you. I am excited to talk to you today about LinkedIn. So we have a course in our LinkedIn uh, sort of training module, and we do a lot of talking about LinkedIn. But we do talk about LinkedIn kind of from the standpoint of if you're new to LinkedIn or you don't have a very well developed LinkedIn. But I wanted to go over sort of LinkedIn 201. So we've got LinkedIn 101 is all about just creating that profile and getting yourself seen, getting yourself to show up in the recruiter results. We'll talk a little bit about that too, but LinkedIn 201 is how do you then use your LinkedIn profile to really start to show up, to network, to actually use your LinkedIn profile as a tool to attract people to you. And therefore, next time you are on the job market, you already have a built-in network. You're not starting from scratch, and you're more likely to quickly land because we do know that people are most likely to get jobs from people in their network. So that's a really important topic. I'm just waiting to load up so that I can see the comments in our Facebook group. I am going live in the Facebook group. And okay, great. Now I see it. So if you have a question, you can post it in there. If you have a question if you're coming to us from our Slack group, you can post through this link. There is a chat through our StreamYard webinar. So I'll try and monitor all of those. And if you are watching this on YouTube, I'm probably not going to see those comments live. I will try and circle back and answer those there. Okay, so I'm going to show you my profile, and we're going to go through the elements of a profile that is being used to attract people. So in this case, I use it to attract clients for Recruitomics, where we do strategic talent acquisition consulting, I'm really heavily using it for that. So you'll see how that's optimized. So this is my profile. And my profile is probably looks a little different than some of the profiles you're used to seeing. So I'm going to go through this element by element. But the first thing I'm going to do is show you the analytics. You may not really be aware of these analytics, but the first thing you should do when you're starting to work on your LinkedIn profile is pop up here to your analytics, which are in the top, and take a screenshot. And what's great is you can actually take a screenshot, including the date here. So on a Mac, it's Shift Command 4, and then I get this little kind of target looking symbol, and I can take a screenshot of that. And then I can compare over time, which I think is a great thing to do. So it's nice to see how many profile views you've had, how many times you've appeared in the search results. And these are actually milestones that we do track in our more advanced course, which is our Job Seeker Accelerator. We help people to track these over time with the tactics that we teach so that you know if you're actually showing up more in those search results. But this is something you can track on your own as well. So you can see that in the past week, I've shown up in 250 searches. My profile is not necessarily optimized for job seeking. And so that's still a very good number of searches to show up in. You can see how many you've shown up in. You can see how many followers you have. So these are not necessarily, it depends on how your profile is set up, whether you're in creator mode or standard mode. But people, when they link in with me, they actually follow me. And then they can also request to link in, but most people just follow me at this point. So you can see how many people are actively following my profile, how many impressions my posts have gotten, and things like that. So this is a really great place to just have your eye on this. Make sure that you're kind of on an upward trajectory here. All right, so underneath so I am in creator mode. I just mentioned that. I'll do a different topic on this, but creator mode allows me to do things on my profile, like create a newsletter, have a follow link, things like that. So this is a mode you have to turn on, and you can only turn it on depending on your activity level on LinkedIn. So if you're not seeing the ability to turn it on, it's because you haven't yet built out your LinkedIn quite enough. All right. So I'm going to pop out of this and I'm going to go back to my profile. All right, so the first thing I'm going to mention is the top of my profile. You can see that I do not have the standard LinkedIn banner here. I still see so many people who are job seeking that have the standard LinkedIn banner, but this is a place you can inject some information about yourself and really stand out. So I know we've gone over that in a couple of other courses that we've done. So just know that this is incredibly powerful. You can use Canva to actually develop this, but just know that you need to have kind of the meat of this off to the right-hand side, because depending on the device that you're showing up on, your profile picture will show up in different areas. So we're on a desktop right now, but you can see that on the desktop, my profile picture is over here. But if you're on mobile, it shows up it shows up closer to the middle. It's still to the side. So on mobile, this works because my profile picture ends up right here. So test it out, but Canva does have some nice templates. I do recommend putting something that's sort of relevant to you, or something that's a conversation starter. And this really is going to depend on your own preferences. So for years, I had pictures of my dogs or my horses, and that started so many conversations. So you'll hear a lot of different advice about this, but it depends what you're trying to do. Right now, I am working on a rebrand for Recruitomics, so it's very important to me to be attracting new clients that are our ideal clients. So I am right now very professional. I've got this DNA. I'm making these connections and networking connections. It sort of visually shows what I do. But if I am not in business development mode and I'm more in networking mode, sometimes it's nice to have personality here. And so that's where working, having my horses up there, that starts so many conversations, having my dogs up there. So, this is sort of to each their own, and what is your goal on the platform. The next thing I'll say is my profile picture. You should take up most of the bubble, and there should be really good contrast. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that in a minute and how that shows up in other areas. But it's really important that you sort of stand out. And when you're commenting on other people's posts, which is a great way to drive traffic to your profile picture being a little bit unique, right? And having kind of a lot of contrast between your picture and maybe the background, or maybe you're wearing something bright, that can really help to attract people's eyes to your comments on things. Next up, we've talked a lot about your headline. This is so important, but this is also important for what shows up and when you're commenting on things. So we've talked a lot about using in our normal, let's call it the LinkedIn 101 course, about using this to tell recruiters what you're doing. And what I will say is that this can be fairly long. You can see this is like 3 lines long, and this one word kind of dropped into that third line. But when I'm commenting on things, only a little bit is going to show up. And I'll show you that in a minute. So you really need to leverage the beginning part of this with something catchy if you're going to use it for networking and network building and driving people into your profile. So mine is Startup Biopharma Builder. Like, what does that even mean, right? People actually message me to ask. So if you have a catchy tagline there, then that will really help. Jalen, who happens to be right here on my sidebar, also recommends putting emojis in. So he has actually an emoji in his name, and then here in his what is the headline section, he's got a little DNA strand and a little lightning bolt, and that does really draw the eye. So just know that that can be part of your strategy for attracting people, depending on what you're going for. So for me, I didn't put any emojis in here because I'm mostly networking with C-level people. Jalen's mostly working with candidates. And so Jalen really wants to stand out to candidates and sort of draw their eye. Okay, next up is what you talk about. This is only available, if you see this, it's only available to people in creator mode. Okay, so you can see I have creator mode on here. This is obviously me viewing my profile from the back end. So from from the public side, people don't see this, but they do see what I talk about. And this is populated by what I do talk about and which hashtags I use in the posts that I make. So my top hashtags, the top 5 things I talk about, end up here. So I'm really intentional about the hashtags I use because I want to make sure that I am showing up for people, in the when people look at this, they know what do I talk about, what is most important to me, and so I curate this by making sure I'm posting about those things regularly. All right. So up here, you can also curate this. So if you have a couple of jobs simultaneously, which sometimes if you're a consultant, you may have, you are able to choose what you put here. So in this case, I have two companies currently. So I've chosen which company I've highlighted here. You can also choose which school you want to highlight, and that is all available to you in this little pencil. So you can be really intentional about what you're putting here. And then if you are able to, you can also highlight things like you're open to work. I put that I provide services. So you're able to do that on your profile as well if you're trying to attract people to you, and that shows up in the search results. All right, we have talked a lot about how to create different sections here. I will say that just like in your headline section, your about section, people only see this much of it when they come to see your profile. So much like I talk about how important real estate is on your resume, what's above the fold, this is what's above the fold. And so here I did put a little emojis in because I want to draw people's eye to that. And then you really only get a very small amount. So here I have a hook for my clients who might be struggling with this. So, are you charged with growing a small or startup biotech company? Building a strong team in this competitive landscape can be daunting. Attracting and retaining top notch talent is crucial for achieving success, but and then it's a cliffhanger, right? They want to click this. They want to see what else I have in here. So I've kept it short and sweet, but I really wanted to hook people with this top section because that's all they get to see. And then you also get to put your top skills into that section. So choose those. You get 5. So choose those wisely. What do you want to be known for? What are you going for? If you're a job seeker, what are the things you really want people to look at top, front and center, those top skills? If you are not a job seeker, but you are you never know in this. I'll just say in this economy, you just never know. So it is not a bad thing to be thinking about what are the top skills I love? What do I love doing? What do I want to be known for? And make sure that those are in that section. All right. Beyond that, we have talked a lot, and you can go back to the LinkedIn 101 classes to really think about how you build out your experience section here. I think the top thing to highlight is that skills now can be categorized under each experience. So it is worth taking time to make sure you curate the skills under each experience that you want to be known for that experience. All right. And you do that within the skills section. So you'll actually have to go all the way down to skills, wherever that is. I put it at the bottom because it's now it's all categorized. Okay, so here under the skills section, I'm able to curate these skills. And whenever you do put a skill, then now you have the chance to categorize it. So let's say it's analytical. Now you can categorize it under either the company or your education, or if it was something else that's kind of on your profile. You can even categorize skills under publications, which is getting a little nitty gritty for me. I'm not sure how many people are truly going to use that, but it is an option to you. I think it's most important to make sure that you're putting it under your experience, unless you're a very entry-level person and you do just have the education and maybe some volunteering and courses and things like that. Then that maybe becomes more important. But as you are iterating your LinkedIn profile over time, which you should do regularly, as you are doing that, make sure that you are consistently going back to this and curating this list of skills so that it is really obvious to anybody who's looking at your profile what your specialties are. All right. Now, I'm going to not put that skill on there. Discard. There we go. Now I'm going to show you how to use LinkedIn in this new way and why it was so important to sort of look at this top section and how that shows up elsewhere on the platform. So I'm going to go into my home feed. And here I just get posts that are from my feed. Now, what you can do is you can actually X out the posts that you don't want to see. So I actually don't want to see this post here. No offense to Teamwork. It's just not of interest to me. So if you click X, notice this. It says your feedback helps improve the feed. They're actually curating. This is a social media platform. We don't use it like Facebook and Instagram. It's very professional, but you can curate your feed by telling it what you don't want to see. So that's really important. So what if you were to comment on, so the easiest way, I'll back up. The easiest way to start to gain traction on the platform is to be commenting on people's posts. So you don't want to be commenting just like nice post or something. You want something insightful to say. So really take the time to read. Let's say I wanted to comment on this. I would go, so the elements of this are that my network connection, Rufia, reposted this. And this was actually Chris Donnelly's post. Now, Chris is a second degree connection. So this only showed up in my feed because one of my first degree connections thought it was worth reposting. So this starts my brain thinking in two ways. First of all, if this connection of mine, Rufia, is a connection that I want to that I think is really strong for my network, and I want more connections like that, I might be thinking, well, who's Chris? And Chris posts about startups, scale ups, AI. That's actually that's interesting to me. So I might go read this article if it's an article. And if it was interesting to me, first of all, liking it is always good. What's even better though is giving it one of the other things, because you can actually you can categorize this if you go in. So 76,000 people like this one. This is a popular post. But if you thought, okay, that's insightful, you could do that and people will be able to categorize by that. And so if it's a less, like most people are going to thumbs up it. So if you did a different emoji, you might get noticed for that, but make sure it's relevant. If it's not funny posts, then don't do the funny laughing face. And then you can post on this. And what shows up here is, I'm just going to show you, we're going to look at some of these. This is a good one because there's a lot of comments, right? There's 1,800 comments on this one. You probably wouldn't get noticed for this one. So just know that. These really popular kind of viral for LinkedIn posts are harder to get noticed on. But let's just look at people's headshots here and what shows up, okay? So here is a headshot, and this head of design, Canonical, that is this person's headline. So I'm actually going to pop over there and we'll just see that in there. So this is their entire headline, okay? So this is not really branding the individual. This is just his job title and company. And it's unique to have a sketch. I would say it's probably less of a standout because of the way it shows up color-wise on here. Let me just pop back into the comments so we can see that again. See, it's not a lot of contrast with the white. It's not bad though. Same thing for the author. I'd say, this is not going to stand out in a sea of comments. Let's see if we can find a really standout picture here that's like, oh, okay, so here's a pop of color. Your eye is drawn to this person's profile picture. So you can see that a lot of people don't. This one is a pop of color, although I think that's a sketch too, but that's interesting. I'm interested in his picture. I think that's the point, right? You're looking to just stand out just a little bit. That pop of color is less common than you would think. A lot of people just have, either black and white or a gray background, and it's just not as colorful. So when you see a colorful one, it kind of pops out and you think, oh, who's that? All right, so that's a great way to get noticed when you're looking at comments. Yeah, see, most of these are just plain colors. You're getting some good stuff in this. Nice pop of color. So that's what we're looking for. I would say if you're looking to stand out through networking on the platform, make sure that you make your profile picture unique. Your face should be nice and big. This is a great one. This Simeon's face is large. The background is eye-catching, and it is just something that when you're scrolling down, this stands out, okay? Then, okay, I'm actually really, so he's doing a good job of leveraging the platform. Chief Merchant plus Ideas, guys. Okay, this is interesting. What we're seeing here is just the first line of the headline. So unlike the last profile we looked at, this is a much larger headline. And like I said, you can make this pretty big, but it's interesting, right? I want to know what he does. My curiosity is piqued. I might message him and say, hey, what is a Chief Merchant and Ideas, guys? Like, what is that? So I'm just curious about this profile. It's a well done profile. It is eye-catching. Also, you notice that the LinkedIn profile picture coordinates with the background. There's information here, get more traffic, leads, and sales, things like that. If I was looking for somebody to get me more traffic, leads, and sales, this profile would catch my eye, right? It talks about AI, CRO, sales, websites. This is a great profile, really good profile. I'm not in the market, but if I were, I would. Oh, and look, we can book a one-on-one discovery call right here. It's a really good profile. So these are things to be thinking about if you are looking to leverage this platform for networking. So going back to the comments, this particular post is just a little too big to actually really get you noticed. Although not if you have a great profile picture and you happen to be teaching a class on this. But if you were, so I think the easiest use case right now for all of the folks that are out there job seeking and looking to network and be noticed and things like that, first of all, spend an hour cleaning up your profile, make it look cool. Second, pop on into your feed and your first degree connections that are sharing things like this. So Delphine just got promoted to a new position within her company, Rivana. And there are some comments, but it's a nice number of comments. So Delphine's done a good job with this post. People are noticing it. This would be one where I might applaud, yay, good job. And then I might look into the company and I might say something insightful about the company, like, oh, congratulations. It's really the work that Ravana is doing in XYZ is really interesting. Keep us updated. So some sort of a meaningful post, not just a congratulations if you can help it, but even just saying congratulations will let you show up. And then people who are commenting are going to be seeing you. And if you have a compelling photo and you have an interesting headline, they might just click through and visit your profile, and you're going to see that in your profile views analytics. Okay. So the second part of this is that you need to be posting as well. So as you start to grow your network and you want to have more people landing on your profile, share some interesting articles, share some insights about your job, your industry. Right now with the job market, don't be too negative, but if you're looking for a job and it's frustrating, put that out there, but put it out as a question, like, hey, who else is out there struggling to get a job? Love to get virtual coffee sometime and share ideas on how to get better, whatever. You can, throw out some things that are going to drive engagement, and people will start to comment on those, share on those, and that just gets you more profile views, and it raises you in the algorithm, which means you'll be seen more often. And so as a networking tool, LinkedIn is phenomenal for that. I can tell you that every single day, with very little work on my part, I get tons of messages inbound asking me for a lot of candidates, of course, working with us, but also people asking about our company, people asking me to speak, just any sorts of things that kind of, because of the work I do on the platform, engaging and being out there a little bit, the number of people who just go through my profile on a daily basis is pretty staggering. And it's something you don't really have to work all that hard at, because LinkedIn, ultimately, people are very respectful. They want to know people, they want to network, and they want to leverage it in an appropriate way. So with that, I am going to stop sharing my feed, and I will take any questions that I have. Let me just look through here. Oh, I'm not going to stop sharing actually, because I do have a question about that. Okay, so going back to my profile, go back here. So the question is about turning on the creator mode. So if you are able to turn it on, it's going to be right here underneath your kind of top section, whatever we're going to call this, the topper. So this is only visible to you though. So you'll be able to turn it on here. And there's actually a couple places you can turn it on that asked you about, but this is where it's easiest. And you will not have the option unless you have been engaging on the platform. So if you don't have it yet, it's probably just a matter of you need some more connections, you need more people viewing your profile, and you need to be posting. They really want people who are posting to be creators, okay? So if you don't have access to this, just get out there and start posting, and probably within a couple of weeks you'll have it, because it's not that hard to get, okay? Let me see what else I have. Okay. Okay, so networking and inviting people, this is a great one. When you are reaching out to people to ask them to connect, try not to just spam them with a normal connection request. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's say I'm connected to all the people here, right? So let's see. Okay, so here down here, it says people you may know. So your algorithm is going to start to connect you with people it thinks you may want to connect with. Okay, so PhD candidate UMass. I'm from UMass. So in this case, I do like to visit somebody's profile. Okay. And I can tell you that this is the standard LinkedIn banner. So we could definitely improve upon this profile and, maybe have a snazzier headline, things like that. Helen may not be on the job market or worried about that, but it's never too early to start. But if I thought, you know what, I definitely want to connect. So Helen reposted this article that I actually commented on as well. Mary Munson was loosely one of my advisors actually in grad school. And so I like to just go through the profile and find a little common ground. Okay. And then it depends on what mode they have on. If you look at mine, it's going to say follow. But if you really want to connect with someone and they have the follow, you have to go to more and then you can connect. But in this case, I'm going to hit connect, and this only works on desktop. If you hit connect on your mobile phone, on your app, it'll just send a connection request without letting you do any personalization. So just keep that in mind. There is a way on your mobile phone, but you have to go into the three dots and go down. I can't show you that here. Maybe I'll do a screen share of that at some point. It's a little more complicated. But when you hit connect, it's going to say add a note to personalize. So you hit add a note, and then you can say in here, you can say something like, hey there, thanks for reposting that article about Mary. She's fantastic. I can't spell fantastic. She's fantastic. I'd love to have you in my network. It's that simple, okay? That personalizes, that gives you a common touch point. I don't actually know this person, but we have this overlap and this common ground. And so this is how I would invite her to connect if that were what I was doing. So definitely personalize those invitations. It does really absolutely help. When you do that, it gives you more of a common ground. And if you can ask a question too, instead of just saying, I'd love to connect, I might say, how's your PhD research going? Kind of start that conversation. LinkedIn rewards that back and forth a lot in the algorithm and in your ability to connect with people. One parting thing I'll say about connecting with people is that you cannot connect with very many people in a day if your network is small, okay? I don't know exactly how many people is too many people. Nobody seems to know that. But I would focus on connecting with probably fewer than 50 people a day, maybe even less than that to start. So you will get put into LinkedIn jail. You will not be able to connect with people for like a month if you overdo it. So keep that in mind and be a little bit judicious with who you connect with. Make sure that they're appropriate connections that are going to help you in your career. All right, so we are at time, and if you have any further questions, do post them. I'll get back to them as I can, and hopefully this was helpful to you. Let me know. Thanks. Oh, one last thing. On Friday, I am going to be going through in the community. I'm going to be doing an event where I go through Allison Hall. She's the co-founder of Collaboratory and the COO of Recruitomics. We go through her entire profile thing by thing and sort of do a makeover. So that is an event to look forward to on Friday. We're having sort of a week of LinkedIn because it is so important right now. So do tune in on Friday, and I will see you all later.